I'm taking myself on a little solo cinema date to watch Saltburn in a few days. I've decided to read the book that Saltburn was based on, which is Brideshead Revisited. I don't know much about either the book or the film. All I know is that Jacob Elordi is being rammed down my throat violently over TikTok day in and day out. So the more I see, the weirder it gets. I see a lot of people saying like, oh, it was nothing like I thought it would be. And I don't want to be alone in a cinema having an unfortunate experience, you know? Anyway, enough rambling. I'm gonna take you along for the ride. May it be swift and fun. Yes. Hey guys, we are a day in. I'm reading it on the iPad, which, I don't know, feels fun. Feels very old person of me. So, I don't know how to summon the pages, but I'm 26% of the way through. I'm really enjoying myself. Sometimes I make a point of not knowing that much about a book before reading it, because I quite like just the fresh eyes. All that I know and knew about this book is that it's about upper class British people and like the decline of them, but it's told through the lens of someone who's a lot poorer. To be honest, I think in the film I get the impression he's meant to be actually struggling quite a lot for money. In the book he seems more middle of the road. As you can already tell, I'm constantly guessing like what's in the film, what's in the book. Jacob Elordi is just, I see him as Sebastian, or Felix as he is in the film. Like, I cannot not see him in my mind, and I would have rather not have that. And that's just because I've seen the trailer, but he's just imprinted on my brain. To be honest, what I've read so far, he seems like a really good cast, like visually and even the way he talks and just in general. But overall, it's quite an interesting book. There's a very tangible tension. So you just know something's not right. And I'm very curious to see where we end up. I've really enjoyed reading about how Sebastian and his family seem to other people. The descriptions of them are so interesting. Sebastian is described as this kind of perfectly pleasant but completely empty shell of a person. There's a really interesting scene early on where a really old friend of his is basically just like saying all this stuff about him that I think a regular person would think is awful and horrible, and you'd hate for your really old friend to be saying that, but it's very clear that it's just their relationship and it kind of just slides right off Sebastian. And I'm someone who loves like families and family dynamics and like understanding people's contexts. I quite like that this book is kind of, it's focused on a family and all the dysfunction that comes with. I'll probably talk to you later today. I'm hoping to get a bit more done. I'm trying to make it at least past halfway because all I have is today and tomorrow, and I have a job, which is rude. Hello, I am now just over halfway through. I'm kind of at peace with the fact I'm gonna watch the film randomly halfway through the book. I feel like it'll make it kind of interesting because you've got this sudden change. I also have no idea how close the book is to the film, so I'm kind of not worried about spoilers. I do know that our protagonist is full of secrets and is a weird guy, and there's gonna be a twist surrounding that. Anyway, I am enjoying the book so far. There are moments where it's a bit slow, but I sort of forgive them because it'll be slow, and then just as you're starting to think, oh, this build-up's a bit too slow, a little line will be plopped in there that's just very intriguing, and you're back, you're hooked again. I also find Sebastian's character really interesting because he's kind of totally lacking a personality, and in a way he's a main character, you know, he's the friend that our protagonist meets and befriends, but it's very clear that he's more of a catalyst. You know, it's more about the relationship that this protagonist Charles ends up having with the family, and it's more about finding out about the family than it is about Sebastian. It makes it more interesting that you've got this main character who's kind of not, he's actually possibly going to end up being the least interesting thing about the whole book. And I'm still just like constantly guessing as to where things are going to go. There are these little plot lines and I'm like, how much should I care about this? I don't know. I'm just really enjoying the depiction of really posh people, the way they interact and how they're all weirdly positive all the time and use really dramatic, flowery language, and I don't know. Guys, I'm making myself spinach soup as my pre-Saltburn meal. What do we think? I'm kind of scared. What if I feel unwell? A lot of people seem to be feeling unwell as a result of Saltburn. I'm gonna zhuzh it up. Okay, I'm gonna use 2 hands because this is kind of... Got my little breads ready. Some well spread butter. And then we're gonna put some cream in it. Can you see that? Oh my god, I so almost spilled. Look at this. Got him from Etsy. He's handmade. Yeah, pretty cute. I realised you can't actually see. Here you go. Oh, so good. I can't tell whether it's just a really good recipe. I mean, it is a really good recipe. Or whether, because I've had this since I was younger, I like spinach soup. It sounds like something that most people would hate. This is a flaxseed and oat sourdough. When I was younger, I used to tear up the bread at the start of the meal and just put it all in the soup and then fish out the like soggy lumps of bread. I don't want to do that right now. That's growth. I feel so sensible eating a meal before going to the cinema. I feel like the cinema historically is for just going, having loads of popcorn, feeling kind of ill, fizzy drinks, and like ruining your appetites. The fact I'm having dinner before, it's pretty major. That was consumed at breakneck speed. I'll see you on the other side just because filming in public and also filming in a cinema, it feels like illegal to even carry a camera into a picture house. Oh, the zip stuck. I'm just like covering up the whole bun. I don't even care. I'm not gonna look at what that looks like from the back. Also, how funny is this? I'm bringing Florentines, Marks and Spencer Florentines. They're so expensive, but they bring me a lot of joy. I was also going to mention, I'm very excited in particular for the fact that it's set in 2007. I feel like it's going to be really nostalgic. Apparently there's loads of Jack Wills. Okay. Hi, I'm back. My goodness. My goodness. Honestly, I'm actually quite disappointed. Do you know when you're going to watch a film or you're going to read a book and you have your expectations that you like admit to, and then you have your secret expectations that are higher? It basically just didn't meet the higher expectations, the secret expectations. But I enjoyed myself, no regrets. It was a lot of fun. It was visually really beautiful. There were some funny lines. I just think overall, like, it didn't grab me. It did not grab me. And I think I'm just a wuss as well. Like, if things get too dark, I'm tapping out because I'm scared. and that's my truth. It was nostalgic though. The nostalgia that I was looking forward to, that did hit. What else? The fashion, the soundtrack was so good. I was slightly distracted though by how unbelievably good looking Jacob Elordi, I've completely blanked, Barry Keoghan? I'm like, did I just make that up? They are so good looking in like similar ways, as in weird looking, but then have ridiculous bone structure. Not even in like a I fancy them way, just like in a do people even exist that look like this kind of way. Anyway, Jacob Elordi is so tall. That was another distracting thing. He's so tall. And Rosamund Pike, I mean, she's just amazing. She nailed her character. It was almost suspicious. I was like, is this your secret alter ego? Shall I show you my Florentines actually? A caramelized almond nutty, what are they, raisin base, no, raisin top on this chocolate base, and the Marks and Spencer ones have M&S written into them. I'm now I'm like, is the book gonna go that way? You say it's inspired by, but how inspired? Good morning. We have matters to discuss. I've got my Wheatos and I've got this coffee. It's quite weird showing you my meals actually. What I eat in a day while recovering from Saltburn. I read this article that I really liked that I wanted to show you a quote from, but I got put behind a paywall when I was just returning to the article. I didn't even refresh the page. Annoying. As I said, I was like a bit disappointed by Saltburn. I wasn't convinced, especially the ending. This article spoke about how the way it ended was trying to turn it into something grander, and that attempt to turn it into something grander then took away from the film, because the moment you're trying to make it deeper, it then means you're looking at earlier dialogue, earlier events through this new sort of extra critical lens, and I just don't think it held up. When I thought back to the stuff that happened, the things he said, it just felt poorly executed. Whereas when I was watching it at the time, I was like, oh, this is great and gothic and gross and weird, and how great. And then, I don't know. In terms of Brideshead Revisited, I think I'll maybe finish it tomorrow, realistically. Also, another note on Barry Keoghan. It's mad how, like, one angle, one type of expression, he's looking really quite handsome, like quite generically handsome, and then another angle he looks really twisted and weird and scary. I love the lighting. I remember before I watched it a few days ago, I saw this TikTok clip of Emerald Fennell. That's her name, Emerald Fennell. Imagine being called Fennell. It's weird being named like a vegetable. Anyway, of her talking about how Jacob Elordi, Felix, wore loads of linens, and then combined with the light you end up kind of seeing his body through the linen a little bit, and how that was really intentional, and it's all part of, you know, when you're in love with someone you're acutely aware of their body all the time. And I was like, oh, stunning. The library book is finally collected, a little bit late, but I'm looking forward to reading it in physical form because the enormous iPad is getting a bit much. Fortunately, I had left off at the start of a chapter. So yeah, good for me. Also, look how yellow these pages are. I don't know if you can really tell, but very old book, very loved book. It's the final day, and I know it's going to be the final day because I'm only kind of 70 pages from the end. I had a big reading session last night and was almost gonna just finish it, but I decided to not because, I don't know, I think sometimes when you read too much in one chunk, your brain just like stops absorbing it. It's very dependent on the book, but I know that for this book, I knew I was just gonna start like not properly absorbing what I was reading. So I put it down, I've saved the last few pages for today, and I don't know, I'm feeling okay about it. I definitely am not excited by the story much at all anymore. I like the little tidbits that crop up, but I don't really care about the characters enough to care about their stories in this much detail. I can understand why people do like it. I don't think it's a bad book. It's subjective regardless, but I can see why people like it. I really like certain elements of it, but overall I'm just like, not for me. It also is quite confusing now because I've watched like a film that's based on it. There are a lot of things that stray from the film. You know, it's definitely not meant to be the exact same story. It's more just like the vibe, the concept. But it is confusing me now, especially when it comes to certain individual characters and like what has been said about them. I'm getting a bit confused and between the film and the book and like what I know. I think next time I do this, because I have really enjoyed the process of like reading a book and then watching the film and kind of comparing, mulling it over. It kind of extends the experience of both more, and that's quite fun. But next time I do this, I will be stricter about reading the whole book and then watching the film, because watching the film halfway through, my little pea brain cannot handle it. Oh yeah, this is what I wanted to tell you. I'm freezing cold. I've just been for a walk, and that is because I've just gone on my morning bakery run. So this is what is gonna accompany me for this reading session. This is a cinnamon cardamom bun. Look how beautiful it is. And it's really, really dense, like in a nice way. It's just perfect. Also, let's have some tea. The reading session. I feel like that's when you know it's going to be a good one. I have my glass loose tea thing, teapot, that is. And what should I have? I don't want herbal because it's the morning. We're gonna have some Welsh breakfast tea, which I haven't had in ages. Oh my god, I haven't actually got that much left. How much is too much for one person? I did not boil enough tea, oh god. I'm gonna add some more water, boil it, and show you the mugs in the meantime that I got for my birthday. The way I have my tea is quite terrifying insight into my personality, I always think, because I always have it really, really overbrewed because I forget about it and I just don't like waste, so I drink it, and now I'm used to it being overbrewed. And I also have it without milk because I'm scared of becoming dependent on milk and tea, and then one day wanting tea and I don't have milk and it's just like so crushing. So that's why I have overbrewed milkless tea. I'm really having to work quite hard to suspend my kind of modern brain at the moment because this book obviously just has loads of misogyny in it because it's kind of old. Or maybe, to be fair, they're trying to make the main character unlikable. Maybe they're trying to do that. He's talking to his wife and keeps referring to their children that they have together as her children, and there's a moment where he's sort of prioritizing his work over them, and it's written, it's like, her children, my work, like, what are we like? And it's like, your children. Maybe it's intentional, but it's a little bit jarring. Also, actually, because I'm not done, there are a lot of little moments where he's not very nice. He sees his wife after having been away for 2 years. I don't think he's seen his children in 2 years, and she refers to how the son, who I assume is called John, she refers to him as John because it's like a nickname that he gave himself. He's quite young, and the husband clearly has issue with it, or takes issue with it, and it's like, well, if you didn't like it, go home, be at home. And he clearly sees it as this annoying thing that his wife allows to happen. It's like, well, get involved then. You're welcome. You're very welcome to. Reading the book, having seen the film, is making me fully realise like what was missing from the film for me, and it's basically just like an understanding of our main character. I'm sure some people would have some explanation for why, you know, you're meant to have this understanding, or there's meant to be mystery, or like XYZ, but for me, I didn't understand the character's motivations at all, and it's kind of not good enough. Where is my... oh. I didn't understand the character... Look at that. I didn't understand the character's motivations at any point, and for me that was just... it lost me. I want to understand the personality. It's not good enough for it just to be like, oh, he's kind of weird. Like, I want to understand his history and like what he's thinking at each moment, and like what exactly is going on. So yeah. It's over. I completed Brideshead Revisited, and oh, it's upside down. And I don't feel many things about it, if I'm being honest. We started off thinking it'd be really good, and now that it's over, I realise that a lot of the plot points, a lot of the key goings on in this book are just not things that I care about that much. And that's not Evelyn's fault, you know? That's just how it is. So I still really appreciated the atmosphere. It's safe to say that Saltburn did not follow the same plot line as Brideshead Revisited, but the overall upper class English wealth summer house vibe is so strong in this. So that is one thing that was just absolutely oozing through. I can totally see why a film would be inspired by this book. I've never actually read any Evelyn Waugh, but apparently the same can be said for other books of hers. I think that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna spend the next few days, months, years, decades recovering from Saltburn. The more I think about it, the more... There's a particular moment at the end, I won't spoil it, but that moment is harrowing and will stay with me forever. So I'm just going to focus on healing from that. Thank you for watching. It's been lovely, actually. I hope you have a good week. Goodbye.